Hi, folks. Last week I spoke about how the poem is both a map to the physical world and also a map to the hints in the Thrill of the Chase book, a table of contents, if you will. I provided an example that shows how to get to the start of the hints in the Thrill of the Chase by using the poem. This week, I would like to show you a different way that the poem might work as a map to the physical world this time. First off, what exactly is a map? Well, a map is a plan, a drawing, or an outline designated to represent the region of Earth. It contains geographical positions of natural or artificial features such as roads and towns. Of course, a map normally does not have a travel route on it. We use the map to plan a route from our current location by plotting a path to our destination. In this case, our destination is unknown. The only thing we know is that there are 9 clues, which when solved, will provide us with the physical locations of each clue. To reach our goal using this map, we simply need to plot these positions and create a route on that map that will lead us there. Well, since this is a treasure hunt, we need to find out where X marks the spot. The problem we face is that there is no X in the poem, literally. All we have are 9 clues that represent features that will lead us to the treasure. Forrest gave us the poem, but he did not give us the final destination, the X. With a traditional treasure map, you simply locate each position on the physical map and then follow it in a stepwise fashion to the X. Well, Forrest wanted to make it a bit more difficult, so he left out the X. Maybe our goal is to create it. In last week's video, it in the poem was equal to the Thrill of the Chase, the memoir. Well, this time it might be the X that the clues instruct us to create by using the instructions in the poem. You know, suppose the poem itself tells us exactly how to construct it, where to put the points. To do this, we only need 4 points. It's possible that each point may even only be defined by 2 clues. Well, I'll do this example in Google Earth because it'll also help me explain some basics of using Google Earth. I'll also give you a visual representation of what the heck I'm talking about. So first off, I've already created some points here, and this is not a solve. I am just going to use an example, and I chose Yellowstone because it's popular. I don't believe the chest is there. I believe the chest is in Wyoming, but not in Yellowstone. So let's look here. Let's just assume that Begin It by Warm Waters Halt is going to be Madison Junction, which is here. I've already placed the thumbtack. You basically click the thumbtack. It appears here. You drag it where you want it. You give it a name. I called it Where Warm Waters Halt. And then when you hit click OK, here's the tack. So that's our warm water halt. Then he says, and take it in the canyon down, not far, but too far to walk. So just because everybody goes west into the canyon, which 4 miles down is where the Madison River goes into the Madison Canyon. But I'm going to be special, and I'm going to go down or south along the Firehole River. Okay, so this is Madison Junction. Here's the Madison River. This is the Gibbon River. This is the Firehole River. So I'm going to go down the Firehole Canyon, which is here. And since he's not talking about a canyon that's in walking distance because he tells us that it's too far to walk. So we're going to ignore this canyon and we're going to keep going down and down and down. And we're going to put in below the home of Brown. Now, again, this is not a solve, but let's assume that the home of Brown, for now, is the Madison Lake, the headwaters of the Firehole River. Okay, just assume that, because I really don't want to get into what is a clue, what's not a clue, are these the right locations. That's not what this video is about. I'm not going to make a solution. Okay, so now we have 2 points. We have our home of Brown, and we have our Where Warm Water Halts up here. Okay, so if you read the poem, it says begin it where warm waters halt. So I began the line there. I take the line and I'm going to bring it down into the canyon and put it in below the home of Brown. So if I click on the line tool, okay, and then I click here once and let go of the mouse button, and then go down to my home of Brown, you could see that it's showing over here the distance in miles. So I'm going to create that line. That's it. Okay. So I'm going to put it in below the home of Brown, and I began it at Warm Water Salt. Bam. There we go. We got a line. I could name it, but I'm not going to for now. Let's change the color. Let's change the width just to make it stand out. I'll change the color to yellow because that stands out. So there's our first line. Okay. So we're half done now. We have half of an X. We have 2 points defined. And now you notice how he says from there, in other words, from the home of Brown, it is no place for the meek. So to me, that could mean that we're going to define the second line. So let's go up here, and let's say that what do we got? From there, it's no place for the meek. So let's just, for now, say that no place for the meek is by Old Faithful. Okay, this, when Meek came into Yellowstone, he did not go farther than the Geyser Basin. Okay, he turned and went back. I mean, just reminded him of hell. It was not a pretty place for him. Anyway, so just like I said, without getting into solves, let's say that that's no place for the meek. Now, it says the end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek. So let's assume that drawing nigh means left, and there's no paddle up our creek because we're not going up a creek. And let's say that no place for the, let's say that heavy loads and water high is right here. Okay. That's where the dam is this is Hebgen Lake in Montana. And let's say that's heavy loads and water high right there. So now we have those points. We have 2 more points. So we're going to break out the ruler again. We're going to click here, and we're going to click here. Okay. So now we got another line. I'm going to save it. I'll change the color to yellow. Okay. I'll set the width to 4. I'll click OK. So now the next part of the poem, we got our X complete. So the next part of the poem, of course, is if you've been wise and found the blaze. Well, suppose we just created the blaze, and this spot right here is where the blaze is. Okay. He's saying look quickly down. Well, suppose by look quickly down, he means look beneath the X. And, this is not a real solve, but let's say it was, that there might be something that here would qualify as a blaze on the ground. Okay. So the remainder of the poem might be working from that location. When he says look quickly down, he doesn't mean south. He doesn't mean downstream. He might mean down in altitude, just straight down, literally below the intersection. And you remember he discussed intersections a couple of times. So maybe this is an intersection he's talking about, right? Incidentally, if you want to move a point, you could just drag it whenever you have that up. And if you zoom in, you'll see that you might need to move it again. But anyhow, so that might be what we're talking about here. We go here, and we're now standing in a region that the poem resumes at this point with, tarry scant with marble gaze. The rest of that stuff is telling you what to do when you get here to the blaze to find out where the treasure is. So these points where the clues are, they don't necessarily need to be places that we actually have to visit. We may not be going in a stepwise fashion. everybody seems to read the poem and say, okay, I'm beginning at where Warm Water's halt, and I'm going to go downstream on the Madison. I'm going to go into the Madison Canyon. Not far, but too far to walk. Well, they're following the poem. Well, maybe he didn't make it that way. Maybe he's just giving clues to define a set of 4 points. And if you assume that it means line, when you connect those points, not randomly, connect them using the instructions in the poem. Like it says, no place for the meek, up to heavy loads and water high. And I also went nigh or left, right? So I didn't randomly just draw those lines on there. But now we've essentially created the blaze. That might be why he said the blaze doesn't necessarily face any direction, north, south, east, or west, because it doesn't. And there's no way you're going to move that blaze. And if he used good geographical locations for the clues, they're not going to move either. The X is always going to be in the same spot. That may also explain why somebody was within a few hundred feet of the treasure, because if you look here, for example, there's a trail here. I didn't measure it, but this could be 500 feet, And while I'm talking about measurement and stuff, I wanted to show you something else. If you make a line, okay, you could take that line and right-click on it, and you can say Show Elevation Profile. When you do that, you'll notice that there's a red arrow that'll appear on the line, and it's showing me how many feet it is at that location. So right here, where our blaze is 7,282 feet. You could look, you could see that it drastically goes up over here. So even though we're not physically there, we can kind of get a lay of the land. We could see the terrain as if we cut a slice through the earth. And you can see the arrow moving, and it's showing me exactly the profile of where we're at. So that's just another kind of useful tip for Google Earth. Anyway, this seems to work. Is it the solution? I don't know. In any case, I'm hoping this might help someone think of things that could be possible. We know the poem's a map. Forrest said it is. The question that we need to answer is, how do we use the clues to plot a course to the chest? We can do it stepwise to the blaze, or maybe we plot the X. I don't know. That's up for you to decide. Anyway, I hope this video helps. If you liked it, please pass it around. Also subscribe. This way you'll get notifications when the new videos come out. And I'd appreciate anything, any if you could pass this link around. Help get some people to see this stuff. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.